In 2023, Chinese biotech sold 1 or 2 molecules to global Big Pharma. Total deal value, $16 billion. Quiet year. In 2025, they sold 94. $137.7 billion. An 8-bagger in 2 years. Pfizer paid $1.25 billion upfront for one bispecific. Merck paid $588 million for another. GSK signed $12 billion across 12 programs with Hengrui. Largest external R&D shopping spree in pharmaceutical history. But here's the part that doesn't add up. Wall Street still calls China biotech uninvestable. Big Pharma is treating it like the last drugstore in town. Big Pharma is staring at the largest patent cliff in its history. Merck's Keytruda, $29.5 billion in 2024 revenue, 56% of total Merck, loses U.S. protection December 2028. Bristol's Eliquis, jointly with Pfizer, $13 billion a year, off patent April 2028. Bristol's Opdivo, $9 billion, 2028. AbbVie's Imbruvica, J&J Stelara, all on the cliff. Aggregate U.S. pharma revenue at risk by 2030, roughly $300 billion. By 2033, $400 billion. And the Inflation Reduction Act stacks on top. Medicare price negotiations are now law. Round 1 in effect, 10 drugs, average 38% off list. Round 2 adds 15 drugs in 2027. Round 3, 20 in 2028. 20 more every year after. Big Pharma needs replacements. Now. Why China? 3 things broke in their favor. Phase 3 trial in the United States costs about $69,000 per patient. The same trial in China, $25,000. 2.7 times cheaper. U.S. Phase 3 enrollment averages 18 months. Chinese trials enroll the same volume in 3 to 6 months. 2 to 3 times faster, with treatment-naive patient pools that don't exist anywhere else. And the molecules are now globally competitive. Akeso's ivonescimab beat Merck's own Keytruda head-to-head in a Phase 3 non-small cell lung cancer trial, overall survival 16.8 months versus 14.1. Progression-free survival, 11.1 versus 5.8. That was the moment Big Pharma stopped treating Chinese assets as a discount option and started bidding for them at record prices. The deal that lit the fuse, Summit Therapeutics, ticker SMMT, US listed, clinical stage. No products. No revenue. December 2022, Summit licensed one Chinese molecule from Akeso, ivonescimab, for $500 million upfront and up to $5 billion in milestones. That was the entire company strategy. 2.5 years later, ivonescimab beat Keytruda head-to-head. Summit's market cap today, $12.5 billion. One in-licensed Chinese asset. Worth more than half of all Chinese biotech on Hong Kong combined. Akeso, the originator, did 3 billion RMB in 2025 commercial sales, up 51% year-over-year. The Summit milestones come on top. The FDA accepted the BLA February 2026. PDUFA, November 14, 2026. Then came the cascade. November 2024, Merck paid LaNova Medicines, a private Chinese company, $588 million upfront for LM299, a PD-1 x VEGF bispecific. $3.3 billion total deal value. The molecule competes directly with Keytruda. Merck is buying its own replacement from China. July 2025, Pfizer paid 3SBio, ticker 1530 in Hong Kong, $1.25 billion upfront plus $100 million in equity. $6 billion total. Same molecular class, same disease, same urgency. 8 months later, Sino-Biopharm, ticker 1177 in Hong Kong, acquired LaNova outright for up to $951 million, to replace its lost partnership with Merck. China is now buying back the molecules it just sold to the US. This isn't a curiosity. It's structural demand. 5 Chinese biotechs do most of this BD volume. Hengrui Pharmaceuticals, ticker 1276 in Hong Kong. 31.6 billion RMB in 2025 revenue, up 13%. Innovative drugs are now 58% of pharmaceutical sales. Licensing revenue alone, 3.4 billion RMB, up 26. The July 2025 GSK deal, 500 million upfront, 12 billion total, 12 programs. Largest single Big Pharma BD deal of 2025. Innovent Biologics, ticker 1801. First full-year net profit in company history in 2025. Total deal value from global collaborations exceeded $22 billion in 2025, more than 10% of all China outbound licensing. B1, formerly BeiGene, ticker BGNE. 5.3 billion in 2025 revenue, up 40%. First full-year GAAP profit at 287 million. Brukinsa now a $3.9 billion global drug. Hansoh for ADCs. Akeso for bispecifics. 3SBio and Sino Biopharm for CDX class assets. B1 earns its own minute. Founded in Beijing 2010. Listed first on Nasdaq as a Chinese biotech, then dual-listed Hong Kong, then Shanghai. Brukinsa, their second-generation BTK inhibitor, went head-to-head against Abvi's Imbruvica in chronic lymphocytic leukemia, and won. Better efficacy, fewer side effects, broad FDA label. Q4 2025 alone, 1.1 billion in single-quarter Brukinsa sales. Annualized above 4 billion, now the world's #1 BTK inhibitor by revenue, ahead of Imbruvica for the first time. Tevimbra, their PD-1, did 737 million in 2025, up 19%. Approved in the EU, the US, and 17 other markets. The company just crossed full-year GAAP profitability, 287 million net income in 2025. The rename to B1 signals the global identity. Stock up 60% over 12 months. This is what success looks like for a Chinese-originated biotech, a real drug, beating a US drug, in a US market. 12 names you need to know. The originators, B1, 5 billion in revenue, profitable, global. Hengrui, biggest BD machine in China. Innovent, first profit, Roche partner. Akeso, ivonescimab. Hansoh, ADCs. 3SBio, Pfizer's pick. Junshi Biosciences, first Chinese PD-1 in the US, Loqtorzi approved by the FDA October 2023. Hutchmed, Takeda's partner on Frzakla in colorectal cancer. The acquirers, Sino Biopharm, just bought LaNova for 951 million. The US-listed proxies, Summit Therapeutics, $12.5 billion market cap, one Chinese asset. Coherus, the US partner of Junshi for toripalimab. The next tier, Keymed Biosciences and a long tail of pre-revenue Hong Kong listings. 20-plus Chinese biotechs have done at least $1 billion deal since 2023. Who's buying? GSK first. Hengrui 12 billion plus Hansoh 3.3 billion. Over $15 billion committed to China since 2023. Pfizer second. 3SBio 6 billion in one 2025 deal. Merck third. LaNova plus Hengrui, 5 billion plus. Pure defending Keytruda thesis. They need a PD-1 cross VEGF bispecific because their own molecule is going off patent. Roche fourth. Innovent DLL3 ADC, plus multiple smaller deals. Plus AstraZeneca, Eli Lilly, Bristol Myers Squibb, Abvi, all running China deals every quarter. Of all Chinese outbound BD deals in 2025, North American and European companies sat on the buy side of 73%. This isn't a Chinese phenomenon. It's global pharma's structural answer to the cliff. So why does this trade cheap? Because the BIOSECURE Act passed. December 18, 2025. The law that was supposed to block US business with Chinese biotech. But here's what the headline missed. The enacted version dropped all named entities. WuXi AppTec, WuXi Biologics, BGI, MGI, none statutorily designated. They run through OMB process now, not automatic blacklist. And critically, the Act restricts federal contracts using Chinese services. It does not block IP licensing deals. Big Pharma BD spend on China assets isn't federal contracting. Its commercial M&A deal flow accelerated through and after passage. 2025 hit $137 billion. 2026 first half is on pace to break that. Trump's drug pricing executive order from May 2025 actually pushes Big Pharma harder toward cheap external R&D, meaning more China. Wall Street still trades these stocks like the door is closing. The door is open. The buyers are paying record prices. Where does this go in the next 12 to 24 months? 3 signals. Ivonescimab PDUFA, November 14, 2026. FDA approves on schedule, Summit goes from $12.5 billion to $30+. Akeso milestones unlock. The entire China bispecific class re-rates. Delay or rejection, Summit cuts in half overnight. ASCO 2026 readouts in June. Akeso has 14 phase 3 ivonescimab trials running globally. Hengrui, Hansoh, Innovent all have major data. 3 more head-to-head wins land, Big Pharma BD activity doubles again. Disappointing readouts cool the trade. Big Pharma 2026 BD spend. Watch GSK, Pfizer, Merck quarterly disclosures. Above $20 billion in calendar 2026, the trade is structural. Below, 2025 was peak. Catalysts up, ivonescimab on time, more head-to-head wins versus US incumbents, B1 pipeline reads positive, Summit success multiplier. Catalysts down, Trump tariff escalation hitting biotech imports, BIOSECURE OMB list expansion, US clinical readout fails. Upstream, antibody discovery platforms, CDMOs, raw material suppliers. Downstream, every patient, every health system, every payer. They sit downstream of these 12 companies. Big Pharma needs $300 billion of replacement molecules by 2030. They're shopping in China. The only people who haven't noticed are on Wall Street. I'm Big Z, follow me, see you in the next deep dive.